Welcome to Finer Mindz, the podcast where we have real conversations about the things that shape our lives, our mindset, our money, our legacy, and our well-being. I am your host, Katrina, and today we are exploring an important question. What does freedom look like for Black families and communities in 2026? As we recognize Juneteenth, we are reminded that freedom is about more than history. It is about opportunity, ownership, well-being, and the ability to create a better future for ourselves in generations to come. Today, we are joined by two incredible guests who are helping others do exactly that. In segment 1, we will talk entrepreneurship and economic empowerment with Steve the Finance Guy, Steve T. Lott II. We will discuss building wealth, creating opportunities, and taking ownership of our financial future. Then in segment 2, Shannon Andrews joins us to share insights on building a meaningful legacy without sacrificing your well-being along the way. This episode is for every person who is building, striving, dreaming, leading, or working to create a better future for themselves, their families, and their communities. Stay with us. This is a conversation you do not want to miss. Welcome to Finer Mindz. Today we have Stephen Lott, MBA. Welcome to Finer Mindz.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, so we're going to be talking a little bit today about entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. And I have several questions for Stephen. You ready for my question?
I think so.
All right. Good. Very, very good. All right. So when you hear the word freedom in 2026, what comes to mind first?
Man. Okay. So when I hear freedom in 2026, I definitely hear ability to do the things that we want to do. Right. I hear that we all kind of have our ways, things that we want out of life, but then do we have the ability to actually make that happen? And that ability gives us freedom. And then do we have the discipline to go after those abilities? Right. You know what I mean? And so a lot of discipline gives you freedom. So, just kind of when I think about freedom in 2026, it's just really being able to do the things you want to do without the suppression of debt, without the suppression of and oppression, right, of society. Yeah, and I think that's how how I think about freedom in 2026 right now. That's kind of how I see it.
Awesome. All right. So my next question is, how has the definition of freedom changed for Black families over generations?
How much time we got?
Oh, listen, it's loaded, right? I told you we're going to have some juicy questions for you.
It's good. It's loaded. Let me think for a second. I actually think that's a really good question. So what happens is that we have the ability, in America to kind of do whatever we want. That's what kind of makes America the value proposition. However, we're not positioned to do everything that the value proposition allows it to be. So our ability to be free really depends on the previous generation's abilities for freedom prior to us. And as a collective, the data may say something, but it really boils down to individual families. For example, my parents didn't necessarily know anything about money. We grew up in church. So we were a big church family. However, my friends' parents knew a little bit. So I was a little bit closer, right? So that outlet kind of helped me learn things. And so that kind of impacted me. And that's just kind of the way that our generations work. It really depended on what our village was and then how that village affected us. But the further you go back in generations, then you'll find less freedom.
Yes.
Right. As it, and so how it affects us today is really depends on the generation before us.
Correct.
Because I'm low key a first generation everything when it comes to finance, entrepreneurship, freedom. Yes. Right. So I represent that responsibility. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's almost like you're the one that's starting the generational wealth. So it wasn't handed to us from
100%.
like from our grandparents. They didn't leave us anything because they didn't have anything for us to have. So
100%.
we're like the ones that's starting it now. So we're starting it when others had it handed down to them. So it's like, hey, I'm going to leave you this, my sons. Hey, here you go. And now you hand it down. So you're the first generation of this that's building it.
100%. And then there's a responsibility in that, right? So in that responsibility, you have to be able to realize as a first generation that you probably won't accumulate everything right for yourself, because you're the one that's responsible for passing it down.
Yes.
So then now you got to do the saving. You got to do the stewardship. You got to be prudent, right? You got to do all those little things. And so, that's what makes our generation really interesting, because society doesn't necessarily allow us, that, right? Because we want to have at the same time as we need to save.
Yep. Oh my goodness. I started saving at 21. Because man. I knew that I didn't. Look, I started working at Fidelity, and I started putting pennies away 3%. Absolutely. Now I'm all the way up to that 20%.
100%.
But most people in that age range, they weren't thinking about saving nothing.
No. And that goes back to your generation conversation. Like, I mean, a lot of us aren't thinking about it because we weren't taught it. Like, and then even if we were taught it, there's it has to be like built in as foundationally. So even if you know it's right, it doesn't mean that you are positioned to do it's right. Mm-hmm. My pastor said something super cool that resonated with me. It says, just because I say I do doesn't mean that I can.
Oh.
So I may be smart enough to know this is the right thing, but at the same time, I may not be in the right position. I may not have had enough years to do it, to have it built inside of me to actually pull it off.
Oh. That was a good one right there. All right. So listen, let's get into some of these. So what role does entrepreneurship play in community empowerment?
What role? I mean, we're in, I don't know, are we allowed to say we're in Decatur?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so, surrounded by our small businesses, right?
Yes, very much so.
Entrepreneurship is the foundation of community.
Yes.
I care so much about our service-based businesses and the way that we impact, the people around us. When someone walks outside the door, 9 times out of 10, they're going to spend money in the community that they live in.
Yeah.
And so where does that come from? Right? What are they spending it on? And so, for us, what we do, the businesses we choose to put in our communities is the businesses that the community benefits off of. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to have, 9 chicken places, and then you're going to have, liquor stores, and you're going to have, right, all these things, then that's what the community is going to be empowered on.
Oh man. Yes.
And so, what you put in it is what you get out of it. So,
listen,
that's it.
Let's talk about that, right? So both of us came from, we grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Come on now, the land.
All right. So we from the land. So talking about all of the chicken spots and the liquor stores, right? Yeah. How has growing up in Cleveland, Ohio helped to shape you into this man that you've become with us today?
It kept my head on a swivel. I know how to. I'm good wherever I'm going. I'm good wherever I go.
Absolutely.
But it shows you, it gives you diversity, right, of thought.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, is the most important thing. It allows you to see when this is where I come from. Mm-hmm. And then, it's not to blame Cleveland, but I come from the east side of Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
So being on the east side of Cleveland, there was no, the only entrepreneurs, it was the chicken spots. And then so, that was the Kim and the auntie and the hot sauce, and the people who almost slaved in these kitchen
hot
places.
Sauce Williams. You said hot sauce Williams. Oh my God, I love it.
I said it. And that's kind of, but they didn't necessarily, that was the only entrepreneurship. That's all I ever saw of anybody who owned businesses. You know what I mean? And so it was little convenience shops and little, right, hair shops and 2 cousins and all the things, right? Those are the lanes that we grew up in as far as entrepreneurship. So it shaped me, because when I moved to Atlanta, I was like, yo, this is a different place. Absolutely. Right? This is Wakanda. This is right? Indeed. I couldn't believe it, but it showed me that there is more. Mm-hmm. And so in order to appreciate what's in front of you, you gotta be, you got to know where you come from and kind of have that, you know what I mean? So it definitely, Cleveland shaped me to be grateful and be appreciative of the future and the now.
Come on, you said all of the places I used to frequent. On, my goodness.
That's it. I had to,
Oh, listen. 100%. Okay, so is financial freedom realistic in today's economy and political landscape?
Yes.
Okay.
All games have rules.
Indeed.
Right. All games have rules. Unfortunately for us, with politics and policy, there's an expiration date on rules.
Yes.
And so as long as we're able to stay, on what's going on, right? How does the new policies in this administration affect me as either an individual or an entrepreneur, as a family person, right? So it's on us to understand how the rules affect us. And then encourages our decisions to be as free, to be, free as possible. But as rules change, as our emotion get into the policy, as as things change, it contributes to our decision making.
Yeah.
And so, is it possible? Absolutely. Are there barriers? For that freedom, based on a way that we chose to live, based on long-term decisions that we made because of previous policies, and then now new policy came and then kind of changed things and swiped things out, and now we're out of jobs or out of things like that. The barriers are there, but is it possible? Yes. The probability of doing that consistently is slim enough for us.
Got it. All right. So another question, how do we move from survival mode to ownership? A lot of us live in survival mode. A lot of us from Cleveland, we were in survival mode. My mother was one of them.
You gotta look at what survival mode actually is, right? So, the way I define survival mode is dependent on the check that you make to be able to pay, to live the way that you're living now. So if this check, is the check that allows you to live tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Then you're going to always be in a vulnerable place. So how do you get out of that is, I think group economics is probably the best thing right now to do. It's almost like you got to hit a reset button and be okay with reset, right? Okay. And so, if we got to band together and stay in this house and and the mortgage is $2,500 or the rent is $2,000, but it's a 4-bedroom and you got a room, I got a room, then we both paying $500 for the time being so we can get ourselves together, because freedom comes when those checks doesn't necessarily have to pay for your next month. You have to have the stuff saved up. You gotta have this stuff, put yourself in a place of, to where you're afforded stewardship, right?
Okay.
Over the money that you currently have. So what you think?
So listen,
what's your thought?
This is good. This is good conversation. You said group economics.
Yeah.
So I will say back in the day, you saw a lot more of that multi-generations living in the same household.
Sure.
I'm going to say since I've moved here in the Atlanta metro area, I haven't seen so much of that in our communities. I'll see a lot more of it in the Hispanic communities
100%.
Or either other ethnic groups. We don't see it so much. Do you really think that it is possible for us to get back there in order for us to get that generational wealth? Do you think that we can do that without, how we do I'm keeping up with the Joneses. I see a lot of that with our community. Why do we do that so much?
So, we had a couple dollars, like, you know what I'm saying? Yes. like if I'm being honest, right. We had a couple dollars. And so most group economics, we give a lot of, what do we call it? Respect. And we talk about other cultures in their group economic approach. But honestly, they do it by necessity.
Yeah.
And so we haven't had, living in Atlanta, we are a prime asset here.
Yes.
And so the necessity just wasn't there. So something has to trigger the necessity of a group economic. And so I think strategy wise, it's always been needed. However, now with new policy and people are really like out of jobs, like people are trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to do things on social media. They're trying to figure it out. But I do think now it's a necessity, and when necessity and strategy merge, then it usually works out for the better. Okay. And so I do think now I am optimistic that we're at a place where we can band together, in a group economic,
that's good. That's dope. I like that. I like that.
Strategize and get to it.
I like that. I like how you said that. And I think too, with so many the African American women that were laid off, it was over 300,000 of us that were laid off.
It's crazy.
It's like, I think if we got together,
what else can you do?
Oh my goodness!
You got to think like, so it took for Thanos to create the Avengers.
Yes.
Right. You know what I mean? Like it took for this super, crazy person to have these crazy views. The Avengers were individual superheroes on their own.
Correct.
And doing whatever they were doing. But it took for them to come together. But it took for Thanos to be there in order for that.
The catalyst.
So I do think the Avengers is coming. It's nothing more avenging than 300,000 black women coming together doing something. So
absolutely.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, let me ask you one last question.
Absolutely.
What is one financial habit everyone should start today?
Telling the truth.
Listen, telling the truth. And what does that truth look like? Let's talk about it a little bit.
The truth is current. Truth is truth. It's a circumstance. It's a matter of circumstance. It's not a matter of anything more than this is what's going on right now.
Okay.
And so the more we can understand that we're all in similar circumstances, I own an accounting firm. I see the truth. So I see that there are more people actually living the same than what's being shown out. And so if we can understand that we're actually closer than we think, then the Avengers will be formed.
Okay, come on, Avengers. Steven, thank you so much. I love this discussion. I thank you for showing up with us today and downtown Decatur. We chat and I love it.
This is beautiful.
Come on, the land too. Come on.
The land.
The land. All right. Thank you. Represent. All right. Shannon Andrews, MBA here. She is also a proud member of Sigma Omicron Zeta chapter. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. All right. So I have a few questions. We want to dig into how you became debt free.
Oh,
right. You need to spill the sauce. I want you to spill the sauce. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So buckle up.
All right.
So how has the definition of freedom changed for Black families over generations?
I think, back when we were property, let's call a thing a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was, we were just trying to be independent, live our own lives. That was freedom. It meant, okay, we didn't have to work for massa no more.
Yeah.
And now our shift has gone more to, we want to have more independence over all areas of our life, not just our work, but our day-to-day, what we can do. I want to be able to say, hey, I want to go take a trip to, whatever island. I want to be able to just drop those duckies, hop on a plane and go about my business. So that's really what it's evolved from, to just being under one person's thumb, to being able to move freely about how we want to do whatever we want to do with our life.
Okay, that's a good one. So what does financial stress do to people emotionally?
It destroys households.
Absolutely.
I grew up I remember my mom and stepdad sitting us down and telling us on 2 separate occasions that they were filing for bankruptcy.
Wow.
And I knew my mom and stepdad were fighting. I knew it. And it rooted all in finance. It was always the money, the bills. That's what I always heard my parents complaining about. And so it's stressful.
Yeah.
And it breaks down the home.
Right.
Because money is a sensitive topic. Nobody want to talk about it, but you need to talk about it.
Absolutely. All right. So since you said that, so how do we teach financial wellness without shame or fear?
I think recognizing what you know and what you don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of things. I accumulated almost $300,000 worth of debt.
Ooh.
Me. By myself.
Wow.
And so I wasn't real with myself about where I was. I remember I was sitting in a MARTA station going through this little financial planning book, and it was like, write down all your debts. And I'm only writing down 1 or 2 things. And I'm like, I'm not. And I'm like, it is just me, this book, and God. Why am I lying to myself about where I am financially?
Wow. Honesty, right?
And once I got real.
Yes.
And then I sat down with a sister who was a financial advisor, who was like, she was honest. She was like, look, you can file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Understand what that's going to mean. She was like, but I'm big on, you got to own your debts.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I'm not taking a bankruptcy route. So she was real. She was like, you need to get a different job or a second job or something so that you can start working on paying off your stuff. And that was hard for me to hear. But as a 25-year-old with over $300,000 worth of debt, I needed to hear it.
I clutched my pearls.
I know.
I clutched it. $300,000 at 25.
And I I would not be honest with myself about where I was.
Oh my God. Was that 300,000? Was that like school debt, or was it you just using credit? You had credit cards, right? They offered you credit cards?
Oh, yes. I tell my kids now, like, if they are asked saying, oh, free t-shirt, free lunch, and they have you sign, don't do it. Because that's what they do. They come straight onto college campuses.
Yes.
Mine was a free sandwich from a sandwich shop I ain't gonna mention.
Yes.
And it was, oh, sign this document. Next thing you know, I get a credit card coming in the mail a week later.
Yes.
That's how they get you. And they don't teach you. My mom always said, don't get a credit card, but she never explained why.
Right, okay.
And so again, it's not that being honest, not that being real. And so I accumulated so much credit card debt. I purchased a car. I thought I was doing so. I graduated. I got a new car. Then that car got repossessed.
Wow.
I had to pay that back. And then I had all these medical things come up too after undergrad. So all those medical bills piled up too. And so I'm just sitting on all that debt. And I'm not even being real with the fact that I have that debt.
Wow. So do you think that our parents prepare us when we go to college and they come to you and say, here's this credit card? So do you think they prepare us when we go to college?
No, they don't. And I don't think it's intentional. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I truly believe if my mom was more equipped
Yeah.
and knew how to be fiscally responsible, then she would have passed on those jewels to me. But right now I'm going back and saying, hey mom, did you know this? I'm teaching what I learned back, because that's my responsibility.
Agreed.
Becoming debt free, $300,000. I'm gonna keep saying that number because it's real.
Whoa.
And that was just me. That didn't include when I got married and also took on my spouse's debt as well. And he didn't have as much as me. So he had to come to terms with the fact that he was marrying $300,000 worth of debt.
Wow.
And that man still said, I did. He still said, I do.
So you guys got married. You have your $300,000 worth of debt. How much debt did he bring to the party?
Oh my gosh, he wasn't even in the 100,000s.
Okay, but you still combined it,
But we
right?
still combined it because we made a decision in premarital counseling. We said, when we got to the financial part of it, we were like, we are doing this together.
Oh.
We joined our bank accounts together. We said, this is how we're going to budget. This is how we're going to do our daily life.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do to make sure that we're working as a unit.
Discussion.
And that matters.
Yes.
I'll tell you, I almost said, I'm walking away from this wedding because we got a fight about finances.
Yeah.
And it was so ridiculous because we were fighting over whose budgeting method was the best.
Wow.
That's foolish. But we ended up like really sitting down, looking at each other, and so like, let's take this from yours, this from mine. And now we have a weekly budgeting meeting every Sunday evening to say, this is what our week looks like, who's doing what, who's going to be what with what child, or who's hanging out. You having your girls' night, okay? I'm having my boys' night, okay? And then we talk about, this is where we are financial. Here's what we expect at the end of the week. Here's the bills that are going to get paid this week. Here's, what's going into our savings. This is what we're giving. We talk about it regularly. It is no secret. You can't keep secrets and expect to be financially successful in your marriage, or expect your marriage to last if you keep them financial secrets.
Honey, listen, you just went ahead and jumped on to the second question. What habits helped you most during your debt-free journey? And you just said something. You guys communicated about the you set
Everything.
The program.
Yep.
And then you continue to talk about it. And I think a lot of us will start off good and then it'll just drop off.
Exactly.
But you guys kept your same routine.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about some of your other habits.
So one of the things we did, we celebrated. Every time we paid off a debt, we did something. Even if it was like, oh, go out to a nice dinner. Now, sometimes nice was like, all right, we go and get burgers and fries somewhere.
Yeah.
But as we started to escalate a little bit more, it was like, when we paid off our house.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was part of that debt. We took the kids to Disney.
Wow.
And we splurged on everything because we wanted to make clear. And that's the other thing. We took our kids along the way. Our kids are fully aware.
Yes.
Oh, we paid this bill off. We paid that
that's
off.
amazing.
We paid our student loans. We paid this off. And so we took them on that journey with us, and we did all the celebrations with them too.
Yes.
Because they need to understand, like, okay, pay off a debt. It's easy to kind of get burnt out. Oh, the next one. No, you got to celebrate those victories.
Yes.
And so they know, like, oh, we doing this. Well, how we going to celebrate? What we going to do now? The Disney,
amazing.
we completely surprised them with it.
That's
but
awesome.
again, it was like, we had to do something big. This is big.
Right. So let me ask you, okay, so did you guys use any method, a snowball method or something like that to say, I'm going to pay the smallest debt and then you worked your way to the larger debt? Tell me a little bit about the method.
Yes. So what we did, I know some people are like, oh, the one with the highest interest. The thing with that is you get burnt out.
Yes.
And you get tired. If you do the smallest debt, we stack both of our things and we're like, which one's smallest, which one is largest. I pulled out of a debt consolidation company because I realized they were just holding the money and they weren't distributing it properly. They were like, well, we're just making minimum payments. I could do that on my own.
Absolutely.
But I'm like, we got all this money in holding. This will cover 3 things. So I said, okay, thank you for your services. They were like, we'll send you your money back. You on your own. I was like, that's fine. When they gave me that money back, we paid off 5 things already.
Wow. Okay.
Because it's like, you got to know what you're working with. And again, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yes.
And so from there, we started the snowball method, which was we ranked them in order and we were like, okay, pay 1, celebrate. All right. Use that money to pay the next, celebrate. Now, what happened in between, we had a baby and got our new house and bought a new car and I got laid off.
Wow. Okay.
It got real.
Yes.
It got real. And so from there, what we did was we started, we lived off my severance for a while. I didn't find a job for over 6 months.
Okay.
But we used that time and said, okay, here's the things we're taking out of our budget. Here's the things we're not going to spend money on. You got to know when to say no.
Yes.
You got to say, okay, even though, so we have our little fun money budget. We reduced that drastically. I was so sad to lose my $100 a month of spending money. I was like, okay, we down to 25.
So you guys had a fun pot of money. Okay.
And it is, he got his, I got mine. You do whatever you want with it.
Got it.
That's your only hey.
That's the fun money. Each person has a fun money, and then they have an account.
Because you need that. Because you're gonna dip into your regular and your savings. If you don't have that money, you can just play with it. If I want to go out to dinner with my girls, it's like, okay, I can only do 1 meal. Where we going to eat? Ooh, I can't afford that. You know what? I'll catch y'all next go round.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just keeping it, or hey, I'll meet with somebody and we'll split a meal.
Got it. So do you have any apps that you use to keep the family with their budget, or do you use an Excel sheet? Because I like Excel.
I created my own Excel spreadsheet.
Okay,
I have sat folks down and done this Excel spreadsheet with them.
Yes.
And it breaks down, it calculates like how far along till you pay this thing off. I include all of those subscriptions because it's easy for those to slip through the cracks.
They're all the way,
especially the annual ones.
Yes.
I have, hey, these are the dates. My template, this is the date, this is the month. It keeps track of how much we have in our savings. It keeps track of how much our mortgage is, etc. So I'm again, I'm in that file every week.
Yes.
In that file every single week, to the point where, so recently my husband got in a little fender bender. He's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask that next. Okay.
Well, when we went to say, okay, here's what we need to do, here's what the insurance is saying, they were like, we need to total the car because it's going to cost more to repair it than to, fix it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, we'll just pay to fix it. It's not a big deal because we had enough money in our savings. My husband decided, you know what? We getting a new ride.
Oh.
We went into the dealership, negotiated, and paid cash.
Yes.
Not finance it. We pay cash. When you are going in with cash, you can negotiate your prices.
Indeed.
And you can get it down. And so just, again, you want to be able to get to that level, but you got to be honest and just chop away. We are zero debt.
Oh.
Okay. And that's with mortgage.
Okay. So my final question is, what is one thing that you wish you learned earlier in your journey about money?
I wish I learned to be vulnerable. A lot of what I dealt with, I was dealing with that financial stress by myself. Instead of saying to somebody, hey, I'm struggling, I need help.
Yeah.
But it got bad to when it was like, I realized I was lying to myself by myself, that it was like, okay, I need somebody else to jump in and help me.
Okay, that makes sense. Shannon, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to be tapping you on the shoulder about your spreadsheet because I have one.
I will share my spreadsheet all day.
I need that, okay?
All
so
right.
thank you so much for talking with me. All right. As we close today's conversation, remember that freedom is more than a moment in history. It is a journey we continue to shape every day through our choices, our courage, and our commitment to building a better future. A special thank you to our guests Stephen T. Lott II and Shannon Andrews for sharing their wisdom and experiences with us. Thank you for joining us on Finer Mindz. If today's conversation inspired you, challenged you, or gave you something to think about, be sure to share this episode with someone in your circle. Until next time, keep investing in your mind, your purpose, your well-being, and your legacy. Take care and be well.